and thank you for joining us today for Strides. I'm Addie, your hostess, and today we have Mr. Bryan Dewberry. He is a veteran Marine. He has his own business, Mission First Mortgage, and he also lives with the effects of PTSD. So thank you for joining us today, Bryan.
Thank you for having me.
So just to get started, if you could tell us a little bit more about your background, for instance, where you grew up, why out of all the things you could have done, you decided to, of course, serve our country, and what got you into your business?
Okay, yeah. I've grown up in South Alabama my whole life between Satsuma and Dauphin Island, Alabama. Graduated from Alba High School in 1998. Go Sharks. And then joined the Marine Corps in 1998. Was medically retired and discharged in 2006. And got to serve in a few fun places. And after I got out, I went to college, got a degree, had a large list of jobs, mainly which I worked offshore for a long period of time. And then once 2015 happened and the drilling started to slow down, the jobs weren't there and as plentiful as they used to be. So I had to come home and do what I say, I had to find a real job. So by way of networking, really, I got into the mortgage business. I got licensed and started in 2016. Been doing it ever since. And then last year, decided I wanted to do things my way so much that I started my own company. And it's been going since March of last year. And in spite of COVID, in spite of all the things that are going on around the world, it's done really well. I've got, currently three employees working with me here, and we're planning on continuing to grow. So that's about the half of it.
That's great. And just out of curiosity, what did you get your degree in?
Business and management. Yep, at Troy University.
Troy. I actually visited Troy once several years ago. They just out of interest, they do something called what's called the Youth Leadership Forum. I was nominated for that several years ago. It's for high school disability students.
Okay. Nice.
So there was obviously several points of business you could have been involved in over the course of your career. What made you choose the mortgage industry?
Like I said, it had a lot to do with networking. When I came out of the oil industry, I wanted something that I could build on here locally and stay locally, not have to go back offshore and deal with the economic ups and downs of the oil field. And it just appealed to me. It was just something that, seemed like something I wanted to do. And the more I dug into it, the better it is. I like to talk a lot, and you get to talk to a ton of people. And it's really about relationships. So that to me sounded good. I have a lot of friends that I've gotten by being in this business. And I've gotten to know a lot of people because I have to get out into the community and meet people. And so it's benefited me in a whole host of ways, not just monetarily.
So, as a veteran business owner, does your history as a veteran play a lot into your business dealings?
It does. It does. Whenever, I started out, I had a shotgun blast approach. I just wanted to get a hold of as many people as possible. And, but once I saw that there was a veteran program, there's VA home loans, and how good of a program that is and how well it works. And my network being largely comprised of veterans, I kind of focused on that. Now it did great for my business in that I got to meet a lot of veterans, but also all the way around, because I focused on that, it gave people, I guess, kind of a identifier with me to know, hey, this guy does loans for veterans, and it just plants me in their brain, and I get a lot of referrals that way.
Right. So a question that just came to mind, I mentioned in your intro that you do live with PTSD. Do you find that the work you do in your business helps you in a roundabout way advocate for education on PTSD and that sort of thing?
It does. I get to talk to people all the time, especially veterans, and I get to let people know. Funny story. PTSD and anxiety, it's really difficult to be around it and talk to people. And I'm an introvert by nature. You probably wouldn't think that, but I've got medication and a service dog, Sadie, um, but I can rationalize, that I have to eat and keep the power on. So that keeps me going. And, all the other stuff helps too.
With living with PTSD and running your business and so forth, what would you say to those that are living with PTSD that are constantly over overwhelmed, shall we say, with their symptoms and can't see a way forward?
And the first thing is you got to seek help. You can't do it on your own. One thing I kind of look at military members in the light, because I've gotten to see them, especially veterans since I've been out, is they don't ask for help until they're in dire straits. And a lot of times they won't. And those are the guys that commit suicide. Um, when you're in the military, you're naturally surrounded by a team. Whether you want to be or not, you're grouped into a unit, and everybody shares the responsibility by their job designation or rank or however it flushes out, and it just works organically. Now, when you get out of the military and you transition back into normal civilian life, you're either by yourself or you're with a family of a wife and children, and you face these problems, but there's not that organic team anymore, and you kind of take on responsibility by yourself. You don't want to share that with your friends or your spouse or your kids. You want to try to manage it on your own. And the simple fact is you can't. You didn't do it when you were in the military, and you can't do it now. You need help at some point, and you've just got to recognize that, swallow your pride and know that you're not weak, and uh, you're not losing face because you reached out to somebody. That's what they're there for. And I think that's probably the biggest obstacle to veterans is they think I've got this. And then it just keeps piling on and piling on and piling on to the point where they just can't. And I actually came to that realization myself. I just realized there were things that I couldn't do that normal people could do. That I didn't feel joy in the way that some people do in certain things. And I reached out to other veterans who had been through these problems and worked through them. And they told me, look, you need to seek help. You're having the same issues I had, and a lot of these guys were Vietnam vets, but it translates, you need to go talk to somebody. And I went to the VA begrudgingly, and I've spoken to doctors. I'm on a regular treatment regimen that I, take accountability of and hold their feet to the fire. And it's gotten a lot better since then. But yeah, there was a point in my life where, it could have went the other way. And but because I had somebody helping me and somebody talking to me and let me know, yep, you need to seek help. You deserve it, and you need to work on this stuff. I think a lot of people need to hear that. They need to know that you are not the end all be all of you're accountable for yourself, but you can't do everything without help.
So you say you've been in business since March of 19. Is that what you said?
March of 2020, I actually formed the company the day after they instituted the lockdown for COVID.
Oh, wow. My mistake, and I know personally that you also got married quite recently.
I did.
Well, by the way, adore her. So all that happened quite recently within the past few years. So when you look back on it, did your progression of going from that very dark place to the good things you have going on now, does that surprise you in any way?
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I tend to always just take things as they come and not, look forward too much. But I mean, it's not really a surprise, but it's definitely welcome. I'm very happy that I am where I'm at, and very thankful for a lot of things I have in my life. And I recognize that I probably wouldn't have that if I just, stayed in the bad place.
So Bryan, if people want to get a hold of you and learn more about your business, can you tell us how we can do that?
Yeah, they can find us on Facebook, Mission First Mortgage, and they can also look for us on the web at missionfirstmortgageinc.com. Just do a Google search. We're very easy to find, and we've got a pretty decent websites, and there's tons of ways to get in contact with us after you get there. So yeah, we'd love to hear from people that want to hear about us.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching Strides today, everyone. And please remember that disability comes with ability.